Urban Jürgensen reigns as one of the founding fathers of watch industry overall. He was born here in Copenhagen in 1776 and accounts for multiple talents even through his youth. He was finished with his regular school at the age of 15. Today one would call him a genius. He received lectures at the university level in 3 languages and physics at the age of 13. And he was continued educated by his father in the Copenhagen workshop until about the age of 21, where his father figured that he needed to travel abroad to learn more. He studied with Breguet in Paris, among others. He studied with Arnold in London. And upon his return in the beginning of the 18th century, he wrote the landmark book, The Art of Accurate Time Measurement by Use of Clocks. And Urban was a physicist and a theoretic founded person, and this was a bit new in the watch industry. Previously it had been a lot of experimental things with constructions and principles, but he really laid down the fundamentals. His sons continued his legacy after his death in 1834, and the family of watchmakers continued excelling worldwide in the art of fine chronometers. The company has won a total of 34 gold medals and awards throughout history at the world exhibitions around the Paris and Geneva, Chicago, etc. And the last Jürgensen died in 1912. So we really have a fundamental impact in the watch industry as a whole by Urban Jürgensen and the dynasty that he belonged to. The company in 1912 then passed through several hands, but never ceased production. So we are dealing with a company with 242 years of uninterrupted operations. And in the later period of the 19th century, a young, very talented watchmaker by the name of Peter Baumberger came through Copenhagen and saw the shop and the very fine Jürgensen watches and wanted to acquire them. The shop owner unfortunately told him that, these were part of the company and part of the company museum. So they were not really for sale. But for Peter Baumberger, that was just the start of the conversation. And he ended buying the entire company in 1985. He then proceeded to build wristwatches as well as very fine pocket watches on old ébauches from the 18th century that was left over in the company, and finished a total, we believe, around 600 to 700 watches in the 30-year period leading to his unfortunate death in 2009. Now, the Urban Jürgensen company was taken over by Dr. Helmut Krott, who was a dear friend of Peter Baumberger and had assisted him with developing the world famous and world's only patented detent chronometer for a wristwatch. But Dr. Krott was an auctioneer by trade and just wanted to ensure that the company was kept in good operating conditions, and found then in myself and 5 other selected investors here from Denmark a new ownership circle, and we acquired the company a year ago now by the end of 2014 in November. We have now very carefully, with great respect and a lot of humility for this history, started a voyage for the brand where we very carefully, building upon the ethos of Urban Jürgensen and our history, will develop still very, very fine handcrafted timepieces in very limited volume because it is handcraft. And we take it in very small steps. So this is kind of 240 years plus in a nutshell. Fascinating story.